Oh, glory to Jesus. Oh, sorry. Christ is risen. I keep forgetting that. And it's almost the end of the Paschal season, so I should probably learn it. But Christ is risen. Welcome to St. Cyril Methodius Orthodox Church in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Father Gregory, the pastor. It's good to be with you this afternoon on Saturday, the 29th of May, Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have Vespers here in, about 40 minutes. It's just about 20 after 4 here in Mad City. So hopefully you'll be able to join us, maybe here in person or online. But anyway, we will have Vespers in about 40 minutes. That's the first thing that's coming up. Second thing that's coming up, besides liturgy tomorrow morning, is later, well, next month, actually in June, we're going to start Orthodoxy on Tap here in Madison. And that's an opportunity for really folks, young adults out of college, postgraduates, basically 21 and over, to meet at a local adult beverage establishment, a bar, just in the area, for about an hour or two to maybe have a beer or two and to talk about the Orthodox faith. And I have to say, I'm very much looking forward to that. I think that will be very exciting. You know, I think one of the things that often does us in as Orthodox Christians is that sometimes the sheer formality of our tradition, I think, mitigates against the gospel. Not in an absolute sense, but I do think sometimes that our formality can be a little off-putting. Now, I don't want to change that, just so we're clear. I think the formal liturgy, the asceticism, vestments, calling bishops, vladiki, or vladiko or vladika, priests calling them father, deacons, father deacon, vestments, cassocks, all that. I think all that's great, and I think it serves a great function in the spiritual life. But I do think we need to be aware of the fact that however wonderful all of this stuff is, we do need to sometimes keep, maybe take into consideration the way in which it might sort of put a distance between us, between people. And so when we realize that, we shouldn't renounce the tradition, we shouldn't put away the formality, but we should understand that maybe we need to do things in a somewhat less formal fashion, thus Orthodoxy on Tap, an opportunity to talk about our lives as Orthodox Christians in an informal setting, and maybe away from the church and the church building. And hopefully that'll be well attended. Our first talk, like I said, will be in June, and I'll post the date when that's determined. And we're going to talk about the church as a hospital, and we're going to talk about how we experience healing in the Orthodox Church, and maybe more importantly, what that healing does and doesn't entail. So hopefully that'll happen, and maybe, we won't broadcast it, but maybe some of the participants would like in a different forum to maybe talk with some of you. I think that would be swell as well, don't you? Well, a little bit about some other stuff I've been thinking about this week. On the way into church this morning or this afternoon, I was listening to a podcast called Gender, A Wider Lens, which is produced by two therapists, an Irish woman and then an American in Houston. The Irish woman's just in the West Counties, I think. And they talk about all of the psychological issues that come up around transgenderism, gender identity, gender dysphoria, homosexuality, bisexuality, all of that kind of stuff, which I have sort of an interest in from sort of not only pastoral, but more of a psychological point of view as well. Also, some of the policy implications. But one of the things that I found really interesting, and I can give you the link in the notes here, is they talked about how sometimes therapist and client fall into collusion. And how they define that is collusion is when the therapist loses his discipline and instead of being empathetic with the client, enters wholly into the client's world. So the example is maybe the therapist has a client who eats too much, and the therapist also struggles with that. So he just says to the client who eats too much, well, no, you're fine. It's fine. And he does that because he doesn't want to deal with his own propensity to eat too much. Well, collusion is a problem not only in therapy, but I think in the spiritual life as well. And I think it's one of the great risks we face, especially in the parish, especially, actually parishes of any size, but I think especially mission parishes, because you are small, you're a very close group, and you're focused on building a church. And so it's easy in that context to maybe for the priest to maybe too much identify with the community and lose his own discipline as the spiritual father. That's, just an idea, but it's one I think worth thinking about. Anyway, just wanted to let you know about the podcast and about Orthodoxy on Tap. So if you have any questions about any of this, just drop me just maybe leave a note in the show notes or on Facebook or on YouTube and let me know. Aside from that, we're going to have Vespers, in about half hour. So hopefully you'll be with us for that. And then liturgy tomorrow morning at 9:30. As always, especially if you're watching online, give us a thumbs up or a heart, make a question, offer a comment, just say hi, just so we know you're there. All right. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go get ready for Vespers. So God bless everyone, and I'll see you in about a half hour. Okay. Bye-bye.